Negroes, for whom paying the rent ain't no issue, always trying to tell the rest of us what we need to wait for. What the hell kind of political strategy is that? Give the Democrats the White House now, and notice he didn't even say, and vote for them now if you can't demand nothing in January. What the hell are you talking about? So he's not putting this on Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. He's saying, well, vote for them in 2024 so that you can hopefully get somebody who'll do something for you in 2028. Then why should I vote in 2024? Well, this will encourage 2028. You said that back in 2008. I don't have to be there for that. That's why Steve is sitting up here trying to sell these wolf tickets now. He's doing it now because he already knows what we're going to say. And what he just showed you is he does not have any sort of viable counter argument. He already knows what we're going to say, which is what he exposes with what he says next.
Not doing nothing for us. Listen to me. If you do not vote, the analytics will show. They know how many women vote, they know the age you are when you vote. If we don't vote, how we gonna ask for something next time? If you ain't got no voting power, you talking about reparations. Ain't nobody finna give you no reparations and you don't vote. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. I hope they and you don't vote. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man.
What the fuck?
Now, that was the part that I heard.
Yeah, finna give us some money, no how.
Now, that was the part I heard right there.
You would never.
That was the part that got me. While he's sitting up here handing out his damn political advice. And he's sitting here showing you and admitting, but ain't gonna give y'all no damn money no how.
Gatekeeper. I mean, he is the ideal person for that fucking movie January.
He realized that he messed around and stepped wrong with that one. He realized it because he tried to clean it up right after that. But by the way, he let the real thing come out.
He is not.
So he's on board with it. Y'all crazy niggas, they ain't gonna give y'all nothing no how.
I don't even
From
know
the old nigga who got his. He's very quick to tell you what you don't need.
He is probably the one
and what you ain't supposed to get. Very quick to tell you.
Samuel Jackson did his study work from.
Not gonna go in front of the Jews or the Asians or the illegal aliens or LGBT. They're throwing the money to everybody else and they haven't suffered anything. But here he comes in front of us and tells us vote and don't expect anything.
Illiterate and stupid, outspoken with your
eyes. He's literally telling us to vote and expect nothing. Now you all just heard him say it, and then said, y'all talking about reparations. How you gonna get reparations if you don't vote? And then he turns around and says, why they gonna give you some money anyhow? Where you think they gonna give you some money for anyhow?
Yeah, right.
By the way, he's speaking on reparations, so Kamala doesn't say anything.
Yeah. And you don't vote? Why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. I hope they do. They owe us. I'll go down there.
That ain't funny to me.
Right, none is funny, man.
That's not funny to me.
People got raped, beat.
You watching two handkerchief head, bull jive ass artist Negroes sitting up there on there, well, half a Negro on one side, sitting up there on that damn stage laughing.
Fuck wrong with you?
Would they be sitting in front of Jews talking about reparations and laughing?
Hell no, them motherfuckers.
Would they be doing that at AIPAC? Would they be sitting up there at AIPAC making jokes and talking about what they're not gonna get, even though they've gotten it dozens of times over? Would they be sitting in front of them and laughing? That's not funny to me, people. That's not a laugh line to me. That's not a punchline. I don't think that's funny. That's not a joke to me.
You don't get us our money.
I don't see any levity in that.
We only act off of
And the Vice President of the United States showed up there for the express purposes of getting him to sell this line to us. which is why I want to do this right here. When you see they first start talking, let me go ahead and back this up so y'all can see this. When they first start talking, I'm showing the video for those of you who stepped away from your computers or your cell phones. Gonna show the video here for just a moment. So you can see, now you see they first show the both of them on the stage, they show the both of them together.
Because I gotta stay.
You notice they show them both together here until he starts talking about getting the word out, and then they zoom the camera in on him.
About what you're doing for black people.
And that's for the purposes of not showing her reaction.
Mama, she got good just sisters. You
heard that?
Please keep talking.
So we can stop all
You
this.
can't do nothing for just black people.
What you gotta do from here?
Can't nobody come out with no agenda and call it just for black people and expect to get in the White House.
Okay, but they can come out and say this is just for gays and get in the White House. They can say this is just for Asians and get in the White House. They can say this is just for Jews and get in the White House. They can say this is just for non-citizens and get in the White House. Ain't that right, Steve? So they can say that for everybody except us. They can't say it's for black folk and get in the White House. Then what's the point of putting them in the damn White House then? If you're voting for a powerless bastard who can't do nothing for you. Now we know what they gonna do for Steve. They gonna do plenty for Steve. But he said, understand, people, they are responding right now directly to the new black media. They're responding directly because them he couldn't help himself psychologically. She got run from the right one this time because he got diarrhea of the mouth and he couldn't stop talking. He couldn't stop talking. He sat there and addressed all the criticisms made of Joe Biden, but specifically of Kamala Harris. So if you all thought these folk didn't hear us and it wasn't taking a toll and it wasn't having an effect, then please explain to me why Steve Harvey sitting directly in front of Kamala Harris is talking about, and you saying can't do nothing just for black folk. People, he's not improvising right now. This is not spontaneous coming off the top of the dome. You don't get to do that in front of presidents and vice presidents. If he's saying this, he's been told to say this. Let me tell y'all something maybe that you did not know. Did you know for literally like the last 4 decades that the White House, I'm talking about the president, I know at least since Reagan, but I'm pretty sure it was was happening before Reagan. Jay Leno talked about this. He talked about how he gets paid to make, he got paid to make jokes for the White House. They pay professional comedians to make jokes for them. No, I'm serious. Johnny Carson, David Letterman. I don't know if Chris Rock got in there, but I'm pretty sure he would be. They pay them folks. All the hosts of the Tonight Show and Letterman and things, they got paid to make jokes for the White House.
Oh, we can believe that.
Jay Leno said it. But then again, it's not a secret. Bob Hope, before he died, Bob Hope, he got paid to make jokes for the White House.
Why wouldn't they? That's just easy.
For those of you who did not know, in the internet age, amazing, all this information's out here, and they don't talk about that anymore. But these professional comedians and these professional comedian shows, Saturday Night Live, these professional comedy writers, they get paid to make jokes for the White House, and not just for the Correspondents' Dinner, not just for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Sometimes for zingers in a debate, if there's an opening, zingers in debates, press conferences, campaign appearances. There's a whole bunch of places where you see that kind of thing occur. So the Correspondents' Dinner is just the most famous one, but no, that's not the only one. That's not the only one. So they get paid by these administrations to make jokes. What I'm saying is they got access on the inside. They got an inside line to these people. So if Steve Harvey is up here saying this right now, this came from the top, is what I'm telling you. This little supposed spontaneous, improvised ad-lib that he's doing right here, I'm telling you, this isn't ad-lib. He's doing this because he was told, okay, And if you can say something to help get the medicine down with them, because this is all we offering. Folks, listen to me. They're telling you they're not going to do anything for us.
Thank you.
That's what they're saying. What they're now saying is, yeah, we're not going to do anything for you. I mean, we'll pass a few bills and maybe they'll help you on the periphery, but no, we're not going to do anything for you.
Exactly.
Well, if you vote for us, maybe things won't get worse. Vote for us and maybe we can stem the bleeding and things won't get worse for you. But folks, what they're telling you now is, yeah, you got us. We're not going to do anything for you.
They have flooded the game.
The goal is to get back in office. We're going to do something for other people, but we're not going to do anything for you. You all want to destabilize the established order. You want to disrupt the status quo. And yeah, we're not doing anything for you if that's
how it's going to disappear just like the
we're not doing anything for you.
Nothing for you. Tell you. Our group is going to be
now
so
they're just
small,
coming out and saying,
even though we have so many.
Almost coming out and saying.
But when you ask them now,
we're not doing anything for you. It's like, but what the hell was this you just want to just ramble about? You didn't say nothing for us. Yeah, well, that's what it is. And, you know, if you don't vote, maybe we'll do something for you next time. Maybe that mystical, magical next time you've been selling us every election cycle for the last 60 years. Yeah, well, you know, like Charlie Brown kicking the football.
That don't go along
next
just
time.
to get along.
And Steve Harvey is sitting up there trying to sell that. So like I said, you see, first they were showing the both of them, and then they zoomed in on him because they don't want you to see her reactions while he's saying this.
We could do about it.
Because that would tell you a hell of a whole lot. If you could actually see that.
Women
that would tell you a hell of a whole lot.
I'm on this radio show. I'm hearing all these people talking about, I'm not voting if they not doing nothing for us. Listen to me. If you do not vote, the analytics will show. They know how many women vote, they know the age you are when you vote. If we don't vote, how we gonna ask for something next time? If you ain't got no voting power, you talking about reparations. Ain't nobody finna give you no reparations and you don't vote. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. I hope they do. They owe us. I'll go down there.
Where's Cat Williams when you need him?
Please.
Where's Cat Williams when you really need him? By the way, take a look at Cat Williams' statement on reparations and then take a look at Steve Harvey. I rest my case.
I'm sorry. Madam, I know I ain't coming back next year. I already appreciate y'all having me. Madam Vice President, this is another part of this conversation because it affects us all. It's about housing. And another thing that you've been involved in over the years has been about housing, and it remains a priority for families all across the country. So talk more about the work that's being done to address the obstacle.
Okay, let me address this housing thing right quick before they even get started here. Folks, housing is debt. How I explained this to you on the previous broadcast, housing is not wealth today. Housing is debt. It doesn't matter if home prices are going up, if everybody's home prices are going up at the same time.
I grew up
you can't tap the equity in your home if you don't make enough money to pay that back. And it doesn't do you any good to tap the equity in your home and try to go somewhere else because you can't afford to move because everybody else's home values have gone up with yours. Housing is not wealth. And they talking like we a bunch of upper middle class white folk. Housing is not wealth, it's debt. 3 decades of crushing debt. And now that they threw the interest rates through the damn roof, you thought you were bad in 08. 15 years later, now they've thrown the interest rates through the damn roof. You can't even get out of the house you're in now. If you got a good interest rate, you're trapped in there. Your rate locked into it. You can't leave because there's nothing on the market for you to trade out to. Without paying more than you did, you might as well stay put, which you have to do. And they want to sell you a house now at the highest interest rates we've ever seen. Are you kidding me? Effectively the highest we've ever seen, because your inflation is sky damn high and your dollar is worth a tenth of what it was back in the 70s. And telling you to go buy a house. That worked for your granddaddy and your grandmama. That doesn't work for you. It can't work for you. They got you trapped today. For the average person. Let me say, for the average person, we trapped out here.
Trapped in the trap.
If you got a house before the pandemic hit, God bless you. Everybody else, you gonna pay the freight. And he's talking about housing. The only way you're going to bring housing prices down is if the American government does what it did after World War II. And she's about to reference World War II, but she is not going to speak on the part that really matters, which is that the government paid to build these places. Public housing, subdivisions, with the expansion of Section 8, the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the government paid for a housing spree to be built after World War II. Industries and plants paid to build housing after World War II. You don't have that anymore. And nobody is saying that. So if the federal government doesn't step in and pay for millions of homes to be built, the private sector is not going to do it. They're going to build just enough to keep profits where they are, but they're not going to build one house over that because they want to maximize their gains. Which means right now, home prices, we want to see what the market will bear. We want to charge however much the market will bear, which means the maximum, which means most people will not be able to afford it. That's the point. We got people out here living in damn me tiny houses. They're living in damn me sheds. Talking about tiny houses. They're living in tents. They're living in octadomes. They're living in shipping containers. This is shameful. Hell, many of them living in cars.
Yep.
On YouTube, talking about van life. This is America today. It's a fourth world country.
Thank you. Sure is.
Do you understand that? 20 years ago, we wasn't talking about, there weren't YouTube channels when people talking about they living in their cars.
Yeah, like that's a sport.
Now that's a common thing, folks, living in their cars. Let me buy a camper. Let me buy an RV. Let me buy an old school bus.
Yep.
While they talking about housing.
Exactly.
If they could afford the $400,000 median home, do you think they'd be living in their damn Dodge Journey?
That's being presented in front of all of us as we try to gain housing.
So you're right, Steve. I mean, back when I was Attorney General of California, I sued the 5 biggest banks of the country during the foreclosure crisis. And you'll remember that a lot of black families were targeted with those promises of these loans.
By the way, if she sued them on behalf of a lot of black families, so it wasn't for black folks. Like, I sued the banks, and there were a lot of black folk got caught in that. Okay, and how'd that turn out? What did she do for all those people? By the way, she says she sued them. Okay, she sued them and did what? Because black folk homeless in California is sky high right now. So, by the way, I sued the banks. Okay, you sued them and did what for the people that they messed over, ma'am? How many executives went to prison? How many did you put in jail? None? Because not a one went. By the way, she's once again claiming she did something for you. And I'm like, okay, what did you... So those people, when they get their checks, when did those people that you sued for get their checks, ma'am? Or did you sue them on behalf of the state of California and put the money in your pocket?
Zero payment down, and people ended up going bankrupt. A lot of black families were targeted with those promises of these loans, zero payment down, and people ended up going bankrupt. So this is something I've focused on for a long time. And here again, let's look at it through the context of obstacles and opportunities. So home ownership is probably one of the most effective and efficient and fastest ways to grow intergenerational wealth.
If you can pay off the loan within a decade, sure. And if there were cheaper housing for you to be able to transition out of to something else, yeah. Other than that, get ready for a 20, 30-year slog with a dollar that is continually, progressively being hitting inflation to hell and depreciating. So no, it doesn't work unless you can pay the home off in a relatively short amount of time. If it takes you 3 damn decades, that means your entire working life. What the hell are you gonna do with it? Who's trying to sell their house after 30 years? People want to sell their houses if they do sell it after 10 years. Ain't nobody trying to hold it for 30 years. And today, if you're lucky to get one, because folks haven't bid wars, you're lucky to get one, you can't give it up. If you live in the New York City area, I mean, New York doesn't have a bunch of houses like that, but Los Angeles, Atlanta, Dallas, if you can get a house, man, you can't let it go. So they're talking like this is 1984 and not 2004, and nobody's stopping her to say, by the way, you do realize that median home value right now is $400,000, right? With an average annual interest rate of 7%, right? You do know that, right, Kamala?
Block this nigga.
You can't extract the wealth from it under those circumstances unless you have a high-paying job and you can pay off the house relatively quickly. Then maybe you can pay it out quickly enough that you can draw out some equity before it gets stripped away by inflation and the cost of living wherever you are. And don't expect to go to another home after that, by the way. We ain't gonna talk about property taxes. We ain't gonna get into that. We're just gonna stick on the home values. I'm not even gonna hit you with property taxes, insurance. Down there in Florida, y'all getting whammied. But Florida's not the only one. Florida, California, hell, and coming to a state near you, by the way, for those of you who think you're safe from insurance rates.
Oh, okay.
Florida and California are the worst case scenario right now, but you're seeing it move up in every other state too. Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, Minnesota, Washington. Bunch of places you thought otherwise would be safe. Arizona, they getting the work too. You getting the work too.
Just think about it in this context. You own a home, and then your child says, you know, Daddy, I want to go to Howard University. Yes.
Don't you all consider that to be funny? Ski-wee? Ski-wee?
Yes. And you can say to your child, honey, you don't have to take out some loans to do that. I'll take some equity out of the house. Or let's say your daughter says, I want to start a small business. And you can say to your child, honey, you don't have to take out a loan. I will take some equity out of the house to give you some startup capital. Intergenerational wealth. Okay, but
you want to make money, there's nowhere to go right now to make money,
How much does it cost to pay for college tuition? $40,000, $50,000?
For me, it's not worth it. So I'm not doing it right now.
$40,000, $50,000?
I could do it by content.
To start a business?
It's just not worth it.
What's the number one cause? A business is going undercapitalized, which means if it's going to be viable, you're going to have to give them much more than it costs to start up. How much does it cost to get a business started? Yeah, by the way, what happened about the SBA loans? So she's telling you, here, go tap in your house because we got out of that. If you can buy a house, what you need an SBA loan for? So much for the SBA. Here, go tap it for your damn self.
I'm just living life. I got choices to
These
make.
other folks get given capital and they tell black folk, here, get your ass over there and work for it. They're not telling the rest of these people to work for it. They're handing them contracts, handing them marijuana contracts in California and Wyoming, California and Colorado and Washington, handing them money and then telling you and me, by the way, here, see if you can work your way up. Here, go take out a mortgage and maybe in 15 years, you'll be able to go ahead and have some money to withdraw from equity.
Fact. Now let's talk about other facts. Let's talk about, we don't even need to go as far back as 48 comes in a mule never happened. Let's go to the
What would be the point? Steve Harvey says we're not owed anything. Why sit up here and reference 40 acres and a mule? Steve just sat there reading your talking points about we ain't owed nothing. Then again, Kamala, considering the fact that on both sides of her family, she's not from the lineage of the descendants of the slaves, she wouldn't be doing anything anyway. So no wonder all of this is really just irrelevant to her. She's not doing anything. And she doesn't have anywhere in her family that she looks back on slavery. So she sees it as our issue and our grievance, not hers. No wonder she's so detached from it and can be so apathetic about it. She's like, well, that's y'all niggas' upbringing. That's your history. It's not mine.
Yep.
So, yeah, sorry for what happened to y'all. Me and Doug gonna kick it over here together. I'm gonna kick it over here with Doug. Y'all figure out how to get some therapy and get over that slavery thing. But by the way, why even mention it? Since you're not actually gonna do nothing. Since Steve just said, by the way, you ain't gonna get nothing no way. So why even bring it up? So she's trying to tug on some heartstrings and to hit some of these talking points that she knows we're interested in. He just sat there and told you ain't gonna get nothing. Now here she comes back. Well, let's talk about the slavery days. What the hell for? You just said you're not gonna do anything. At this point, you're just wasting our time.
Let's talk about, we don't even need to go as far back as 40 acres and a mule never happened. Let's go to the GI Bill. You know, we just celebrated D-Day. So remember, we call them the greatest generation. Those mostly men who went to war and put America on the map as a leader around global peace and security. So the United States government, in essence, said, the people said, you are the greatest generation. You sacrificed so much. We owe you, and we believe in you. And there were policies then to boost their standing through loans, specific grants given to them to buy homes. So here was this incredible boost. Here's the reality. Black servicemen, because of what we know to be racial bias and racism in the system, did not receive those loans at the same rate. So where you saw public policy that was about a boost, right? We had disparities before that happened. And then you see the disparities grow even more.
So this is the same game they always play, folks. What I was telling you about before. This isn't about getting politicians on stage and being able to pin them down and get them to admit that racism exists and admit what they've done to us. She's about to talk about the freeways and highways, by the way. You thought that was just confined to me and Dr. Claude Anderson. No, she's about to talk about the freeways and highways here in just a moment and how those decimated black communities. So this isn't about getting them to acknowledge their historical racist acts against us and how they've used eminent domain and the economies and housing and banking and everything else to declare economic warfare on us. This isn't about it getting them to admit what they've done. They will happily sit on the stage and pick up a microphone and come to an HBCU and come to the Democratic National Convention and admit what they've done. The problem comes when you say, okay, you specifically targeted us. What are you going to do to specifically repair this with us? Steve Harvey, when you talking about just doing something for black folk, we ain't going to do that there. But by the way, folks, once again, it's not a problem getting them to admit what they've done and admit what's wrong and confess and concede to their racist history. That ain't the issue. They say that and then say, okay, we talked about that. Let's move right along.
Take into account segregation, redlining, urban renewal, where in so many black cities in particular, they would build freeways straight through the neighborhood.
As I just said, she about to get to the freeways here in a moment. Something you never heard from Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden. Folks, yeah, they're tapping into our talking points. This appearance is specifically to address us. That anybody who listens to us, they're hoping that you're slow bus enough that you hear her saying those words, and then you're assuming, well, she's addressing it. No, she's not. She's repeating what she said. She's repeating the problem, but she's not saying what they're gonna do. This isn't a change. All she's doing is repeating the problem. Okay, we got that. And what is she specifically going to do for us about the problem that was specifically targeting us? That's the point. We don't need a trip down memory lane. We don't need to hear some nigga nostalgia. What are you going to do about that? Well, we're going to give some white folks some money at the community banks and get some white folks some money for federal contracts and get some white folks some money for infrastructure, and maybe they'll hire you for a job. That's what we're going to do about it.
Disparities grow even more. Take into account segregation, redlining, urban renewal, where in so many black cities in particular, they would build freeways straight through the neighborhood, which would cut the business community, commerce off from the neighborhoods. Over and over again, we have seen these inflection points in the history of our country that have set folks back around home ownership. So one thing that we have to do is speak truth about that. And the second piece of it then is, what are we going to do?
No, we don't. First thing we need to do is speak truth about that. No, we don't. We already know the truth about it. We've been talking and talking. You've been speaking about it. We don't need you to do any more damn talk. We got it. We're the ones who told you while you were denying it was even there. So we don't need to be told a damn thing. Everybody got the memo. What they're waiting on is the second memo that says, and now here's what we're going to do about it. No, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Jewish people don't want to take another tour of Dachau. They want to know what you're going to do. And I'm right there on that wave right there. I don't want to hear no more talk. We don't need to confess nothing. You didn't did enough confessing. Every time you show up, all you do is confess. You haven't said what you're going to do. No, so we haven't pinned anything down yet.
To accommodate. Over again, we have seen these inflection points in the history of our country that have set folks back around home ownership. So one thing that we have to do is speak truth about that. And the second piece of it then is, what are we going to do to accommodate the fact that we have far too many folks who, for example, in black families, there's no history in their immediate family of home ownership. What are we doing to give them a boost? So we are proposing a policy, which we are on track to getting done, so that if you are the first generation in your family to go for home ownership, you'll get $25,000 credit for down payment.
What?
Now, did you all hear that?
Crazy.
So if you, not black people, if you are the first person in your family to purchase a home, you'll get a $25,000 tax credit. Don't you know that that's for the illegal aliens? Don't you know that's for her people? She just sat there and said that in front of your face. Notice they omitted black again. People, I'm telling you what she just said right there, that's for the illegal aliens. That's for them. She sat there talking like that's for you. That's for them. Or for the immigrants, legal or otherwise. No, that's for them. That's not for us. That's for them. The first one in your family. But she just talked about how they bulldoze our communities here already. So we need another house to replace the last one you took. Oh, well, you're not the first one in your family. What? Do y'all see the trick bag that just got played right there? The first one in your family. Wait a minute. Does that include those of us who got our houses bulldozed by those freeways you just mentioned? And Bruce's Beach? Does that include us? Oh, no. Well, all the newcomers, they'll get $25,000. Are you kidding me? No, they're not joking. No, they're not joking. So you're hearing this with your own ears now. She's letting you know what we're gonna do here. And if you sit there listening to Steve Harvey, who's told you you can't ask for nothing, you're like, well, let's see what else they're offering. And you're assuming that she's talking to you when she says this. Just like when she said community banks. She hope you heard community and stop thinking, yeah, this is for you.
$25,000 credit for down payment. And if you are first in your family, generationally, first-time home ownership, qualify for $400 a month in credits to go toward paying your mortgage. So these are some of the issues that we are seeking to address.
Okay, first of all, folks, that's not a law. That's not a law. So what they're saying is, oh, this is something we would like to see Congress pass. This is not a law. So what she's offering you right now is speculation, and oh, this would be a nice thing to do, but it's not the law. It's not I don't even think it's a bill. So just understand what she's talking about right now is not something that they've done. And even if they did, she's going to make sure it's for illegal aliens. They want to make sure it's for illegals. This is for them. This is to actually remove black people from the neighborhood, not to build black neighborhoods, but to remove us from them. So here in the new black media, we have a sophisticated audience who heard her. You heard her when she said minorities before, and then when you heard her say first one in the family, a few of y'all caught that. Oh, that's for illegals.
My bills and I feel great.
The first one in the family. Yeah, because remember, what's his name? Elijah Cummings. We ain't breaking up families at the border. They're breaking their damn selves up. They threw the baby over the damn fence.
That's right.
So they'll be back telling you illegal alien families.
Today's Thursday.
Then they'll be
right?
telling you about all the money they got and what they can spend. There's no upper limit on what they can spend. When you show up all of a sudden, oh, we got to pinch these pennies now. Got to pinch these pennies.
I'll come in tomorrow.
Yes.
Another issue. There's another issue. Home appraisals. Again, it's about speaking truth, right?
You got Kamala Harris up here
I
with,
have to give great credit to the former Secretary of HUD, Marshall Fudge, who we worked on this for a while, and so this is where it is.
But what
Home
they're going to do
appraisals.
moving forward
How many people
for
here
black
have heard the
people
story about a
in
black
this
family
upcoming system if they
wants to
win,
sell their home or maybe
trying to
take
get
out a
us
second
to
mortgage,
believe
needs to get
we
the
should
home
vote for
appraised for
them.
its value.
But they're
And they
talking,
call in the
she's
appraiser.
the only
The
one
appraiser
there.
comes in and
But her
appraises it for a certain
talking
number.
points are still
The
the
family
same
knows
as
that's
they've
too low.
always been,
So then
offering nothing.
they get in touch with some friends of the family who are white and say, why don't y'all come over with your family pictures? We'll take ours down. You invite
We're going to
the
move
appraiser
forward
over.
regardless.
The house appraisers for hire.
They just
Racial bias in home appraisals is a
doing the
real
playbook.
issue.
At least
Then why don't we have a black hate crime bill?
No, and we ain't gonna give you nothing.
If you know that this is an economic crime, why is this not treated like a crime? Why do we not have a black hate crime bill? Y'all want to know what a hate crime bill you're really targeting here? Yeah, there's policeman things. By the way, for stuff like this right here, why isn't this covered as a hate crime?
I'm not voting for no damn Trump.
He gonna be like a.
Why is this not covered by the federal government as a hate crime?
And he's gonna be out for revenge.
That would go right there. We ain't got to talk about no damn getting more money and lending and no garbage like that. Okay, if that happens to you, oh, hate crime.
And I'm glad you do. What I've learned
that would
over this
stop
period
that
of
mess
time,
from
I'm
happening.
live right now, but I don't give a fuck. What
Now,
I've
if
learned
that
over, it don't
occurred,
matter. What I've learned
that
over
would
a
stop
period
that
of
garbage
time
from happening.
by dealing with you and just point blank. Look out for your
Gertrude show up at the damn house and whatnot,
That's
try to
where we at
lowball
right
you on
now.
that and things, and you make a complaint
Don't
on that.
listen
Next
to
thing you know,
people,
they
stay
bring her
away
whole
from
ass up here. It's okay,
I mean,
get
I
your ass
can't
back in
tell
the paddy
nobody.
wagon.
I know what I need to do.
Well, that
I'm
would
as
do
selfish
it.
as it gets moving forward.
Again, contributing to what we would see then in terms of disparities around the ability to accumulate and grow wealth. So what we have done is we are now requiring that home appraisers receive racial bias training to address, again, what are these seemingly small issues, but are very big issues when you talk about the overall ability.
They receive racial bias training. Now, Shirley Sherrod did not get racial bias training. She got pulled over on the side of the road by Barack Obama and told she had to hand in her resignation right
If she
then.
gets something, she's giving it to the banks to to trickle down
Racial
to
bias training,
people
the
who
same
come and
garbage we
show
always
up
hear. Now, you heard
and
me
who
give you a
qualify.
real solution.
What are
Hey,
the stipulations?
Bet you they'll
They're
stop
gonna
it
make the
then.
stipulations
Well, we just give
and
a racial bias training as if
qualifications
that's
as
going to
hard
do anything, which
as
she
the
knows it
same.
won't.
They're gonna redline you if you don't have all these things together. It's just the
Which she
same
knows is
thing.
not going to do anything. They say ridiculous things.
And I'm not gonna play this
ridiculous
chasing the tail.
things.
I am embarrassed about a lot of things.
Of folks to
I
catch
feel
up
ashamed. I feel
and to
disappointed.
build
I
the kind of
struggle
wealth that
with
we know
like
is
unbelievable. I
an
sit at
entitlement, is a
TV and
right
watch
of every
all
hardworking
these other
person.
races of people
So that's part of what we're doing on
just
homeownership.
running circles. It just looks like
In other
our
words,
ancestors,
not a
as
damn
a
thing.
foundational Black American, our
In other words,
ancestors
not a
died
damn
for nothing.
thing.
Absolutely
I'm only going to play a
nothing.
little bit
But
more
because
here,
all these
just a little
immigrants
bit more, and
come
then I want
from
to show you
different
something
countries
else.
over to
I
America,
think another important
they have
thing
established
to
it
point
where
out
they
from
can
this
get
administration
damn near whatever
is
they
what's
want.
being done about
And
debt.
they're jumping
Because
over
debt,
us, getting into
look,
vehicles,
I got 7
houses,
kids,
cars.
and
Because one
all
thing
of them
they
went to
do
college.
have,
And
they stick together,
they were
they
fortunate
have
enough when they
family,
didn't
it's
have to
very
deal with that,
family
right? But the average
oriented,
person
and they
is smothered with this
fucking
debt.
work.
That's right.
They struggling out here with
And
this
they don't
debt, these
care how
medical
much they
bills
get
and all
paid
like this.
until they know
Talk to
better.
us about what you all's
But once
plan
they
has
know
been, what
better,
the administration has done,
until they
wants
know
to do,
better. But
pertaining
once
to
they
debt.
know better, whoa,
So I'll start
they
with student
fly
loan
like a
debt.
motherfucker. But
We
with their
have now,
own,
and
they have their
anybody
own
who has received
community.
student loan debt forgiveness, please
Now
testify.
they're everywhere. Especially Hispanic.
Everywhere.
The
You hear that?
Asians.
All 3 of them up in there.
You say
Anybody
it's
who's
called
released student loan
not
debt relief,
Indians,
please
but
testify.
what
You
they
heard
call
through about 3 people.
East Indians. I gotta remember that.
We
East,
have now,
East,
and
East.
anybody who has received student loan debt
And you
forgiveness, please
cannot
testify.
see the division. And
Everywhere.
not necessarily you,
Everywhere.
but just anybody can't
We
see
have
the
forgiven
division.
over 100.
Something
Oh,
wrong
that
with
was
it.
weak, y'all.
African
That was
Americans,
cringe.
which
That
I
was
am
weak.
one, we're
Please
everywhere.
testify.
We're splintered.
Hey, KD, real quick. You want some
All 3 of y'all.
You want some of this bucks?
No, I'm good, bro.
You good?
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
know.
You ain't got a leg to stand on,
But
baby.
it's in storage.
You
but
ain't
it
got a
smells
leg to
good.
stand on.
Oh, my bad.
Loan debt forgiveness, please
The bugs
testify.
are bothering me. But I already said it had to say.
Everywhere. Everywhere. We have forgiven over
Go for it.
$160
All right.
billion of
I
student
said
loan
my
debt.
piece. I'm
For
live.
over
I
5
got about
million Americans.
70 people are in
Do
here.
y'all see that? You got more
One.
people clapping
I got about 5
because she
right
did it
now.
for all
I'm not
Americans
rapping or
that
they
can actually
come
tell you they
trickling
got
in.
any benefit from it. Do you see
Yeah,
the problem?
yeah, and they should know
Yeah,
that. They're
student
asking
loan
me to
debt
rap, but I
forgiveness has
told
helped
them,
us so
read
much you
the-
can't find nobody as helped.
Jeffries, what's up? Coolio,
And the
what's
problem
up?
isn't student loan debt. The problem is, okay,
Okay.
the student loan's been paid off. Can you pay the rent this month? Student loan debt wasn't holding anybody back. There's a whole bunch of y'all in here got student loan debt. It hasn't stopped you from doing anything. Your lack of income and assets and upward mobility has.
Right.
Not student loan debt or home ownership.
Only thing that we all
She's sitting up here acting like
learning to
everybody
do
who
is
bought
get on the
everybody who owns a
same
home
page
is
with
scot
the
free. So they living the
communication.
good life. Are you kidding me?
Right.
There's a whole bunch of y'all own houses. It's like, okay, that didn't do nothing for me.
Right. What about the equity?
And I have to emphasize, that was not without a whole lot of people that did not want that to happen. We had to fight to push it through. The courts ruled against us on a part of it, and so we found another way of doing it.
Every
Isn't that
time you
amazing?
speak
So
to
the courts
us,
went
it's
against us
struggle.
and we found another way of doing it.
But
They don't
the
ever say that for
Asians
black
or
folk.
people from East India,
Every
the
time,
Mexicans,
remember that, every
they
time
all
they tell
do it
you
like
that they
it's
can't do
nothing.
anything for black people,
Right.
you can't do anything specifically to us. Well, that's very interesting. Oh, Ed Blum showed up at the Supreme Court. Well, that's interesting because you all got beat at the Supreme Court for student loans and illegal aliens. Now, they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing at the border with the illegal aliens.
they're
Yeah, damn
not
Supreme
supposed
Court.
to be in
We
this country
freestyle it.
in talking
So
about.
they
They
never
wasted
tell you
our
that the Supreme
communication,
Court is the end all
and
and be
they're
all
voting.
for every other group.
How
But
you
when
gonna
we
vote?
show
You're
up,
not
oh,
even
well,
a
you know,
fucking
hey, they
citizen
start
here.
talking like DJ Vlad. Hey there, you know, I mean, is that the Supreme Court, you know? Do the best we can right there, but, you know, they kind of just shut us down. So we'll
That's
see if we can get
treason.
them through there, you know. We can get Congress to go along with it there, but, you know, between Congress and Supreme Court, oh, yeah, you know,
You're
it's going to be sitting
supposed
out
to
there for a
go
while,
to
man.
jail
Yeah.
for that. If you're a felon and
It
you
becomes
vote,
that.
you go to
So
jail
this,
for
all of a
that.
sudden, the Supreme Court is an insurmountable obstacle. I
How
told
is
y'all
that
before, these
even
folks do what they want
eligible?
to do. They do what they want to do. If they wanted to do
Thank
this,
you.
they
They
would
do
do
what
it.
the
They
fuck
don't want to do
they
it. It's all about
wanna
having an
do.
excuse to come bring to you. Oh, well, you know, Ed Blum showed up at the Supreme Court, man. And by the way, the Justice Department isn't fighting Ed Blum. Why isn't the Justice Department fighting these lawsuits against Ed Blum? Why aren't they doing it?
They do what the fuck
Where are the
they
damn big
wanna
legal
do.
guns out there to come
They
riding
just
to the rescue
nothing
when they're
but
talking about how much they love black women
driven
and letting Ed Blum
bullies.
run roughshod over them? By the way, where the hell are they?
Bullys or
Talking about student loan debt,
IES,
and Ed Blum
whatever.
is getting together with the model minorities against us.
Driven bullies, savages.
Now, you don't have a single court case anywhere in this nation where black folk are showing up at the Supreme Court trying to take something away from Asians.
Thank you. Talk about it.
You don't
Thank
have any place in the world where black folk are showing up at a courthouse to try to take something from Asians.
Exactly.
And yet, there's Ed Blum. Well, you found your minority coalition. It just wasn't when you thought it was going to be. And Kamala Harris, oh well, Supreme Court, dead end. Niggas vote. We'll show up in November to vote anyway. Well, you just avoid this. You just didn't run around the Supreme Court. Yeah, too many brain cells involved to do it for you, though. Okay.
But here's the thing about student loan debt, especially what we know for our community. You look at, for example, HBCUs. The vast majority of HBCU students are Pell Grant recipients. Folks have to take out these student loans, and what we have found, especially when I meet many places, many times, people who are public servants, our teachers, our nurses, firefighters. God knows we don't pay them enough as it is. And so what we are doing is
teachers, nurses, firefighters, people, how much student loan debt do you have to go into to become a firefighter?
Thank you.
How much student loan debt do you have to go into to become a
Stop
firefighter?
talking about weirdo shit,
as far as
man.
being a nurse is concerned, how much student loan debt do you have to go into to become a nurse? By the way, the teacher thing, okay, I'll give you that one. By the way, for nurses and firefighters, how much student loan debt is actually required for that? But particularly, she didn't even firefighters. Okay, how much student loan debt is required for that again?
10,000,
is we are forgiving student loan debt, and for our public servants, doubling the amount of student loan debt that we are forgiving.
Okay, so if you're a firefighter whose MBA didn't work out for you, your MBA didn't work out, here you go. We'll pay off your student loan debt. Because, by the way, if it was doing you any good, you wouldn't be in debt to begin with, right?
Here's what I want to ask the leaders in the room in terms of helping get the word out. Please help people know this. You can qualify for student loan debt even if you did not graduate. Help get the word out. And again, it's about the logic, but it's about the logic behind it. It's just about the logic behind it. Here's the thing. So, most people, many people leave college, drop out because they can't afford it. But the loan is still due. So we are forgiving student loan debt, including for people who did not graduate, because we understand the nature of the problem and we're trying to fix it.
No, you're trying to camouflage it.
Medical debt. Medical debt, for the most part, comes about because of a medical emergency. It is something folks don't plan for. It's certainly not something people want. And what ends up happening is people then accumulate all these medical bills. And it sets them back. As it is, think about the nature of the person we're talking about. They're going through health issues. It probably means they're losing time from work. It probably means they're struggling in many ways because of their health issue. And this medical debt currently, it's counted, has been forever, counted against their credit score. We have made it so that now medical debt cannot be counted in your credit score.
Okay. Well, you know what?
No.
I will hand them that one.
How about everything?
But
not
that's still not a black agenda. That's something you're supposed to already
as
do.
a black person.
But that's for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it would be real nice if we could deal with some of the issues that caused the health ailments in the first damn place. No, we got to go drop bombs in Ukraine and Afghanistan. But by the way, even for credit scores, okay, that's nice and everything. I'll give you that one, but it's still not a black agenda. That's not a black agenda. That's a everybody
Medical
agenda.
debt
Well,
is
black
people-
folk get sick too,
what
don't they?
people don't realize
So this is what everybody's trying to sell us now.
is
Don't
that
black
the
folks get sick?
specialists
Don't
have been
black folks go to
stealing
college?
from people
Don't black
to
folks
make
drive down the
medical
street?
debt happen.
Well, we paying
So
for new
what they
streets.
need to
And
do
don't that
is
help you?
incarcerate these people who have caused
Now,
the
for everybody
medical
else, they
debt.
get something that helps them that we don't get access to. We don't get no access to that. But for us,
makes
well,
them
what we
pay
doing
it
for everybody
back.
else, can't you tag along? Don't that help you too? There's where the damn trick bag comes in.
Find
So even when she does
and pay
name one
back the
good
person
idea in there, here's the other thing.
that
Folks, for those
they
of you who know how
charge.
credit works, medical debt
Come on.
is the weakest of all debts that you can have on your credit report, for those of you who did not know. Medical debt is actually the weakest of all of them. It's the one that it hurts your credit score at the beginning, sure. But after a year, that one is the one that loses its efficacy most. The reason for this is because Equifax and TransUnion and Experian, they actually have a special rating. They have a special
Right.
consideration
We
where
know
medical debt is
about
concerned. Because as far as the credit reporting agencies are concerned, medical debt is considered to be a one-time event.
Right. It's not a
That's why they give a different
monthly
consideration for how
concurrent,
medical debt affects a credit score, because medical
footstep or
debt isn't
footprint.
considered consumer
Right.
debt. It's not considered something that you plan to have happen.
Talk
It's not
about
a
it,
result
nigga.
of a
Talk about
bad
it.
purchase decision,
Simple.
and it's not a result of you
Ain't nobody
didn't want to pay
retarded.
it.
You crackers
So
think
the
you
credit reporting
retarded.
agencies
That's what
actually
that
consider
shit is.
medical
Ain't
debt
nobody
in a
retarded. We
different
already
way
know
than
this shit.
you say
I'm a
you
grown ass
got a
fucking
car,
man. Been on this
you missed a
earth
payment on a
50
car or a
years
credit card
and
or had a
more.
repossession. Medical
and
debt
did all
doesn't
this
go
shit
down like
before.
that.
This ain't nothing new to me.
So yeah, at the beginning, your score takes a hit. After a year, you're pretty much going to mostly recover because and by the way, student loan debt has always been considered the same way too. For those of you who didn't know, student loan debt has been considered a one-time event. Yeah, there's a lot of y'all didn't know that. You had something happen and then you just gave up on your credit. But by the way, that's not the way it works for medical debt, and truthfully not the way it works for student loan debt. Yes, you get a hit at the beginning, but assuming that you still keep working with your credit and you don't just abandon credit, which is what a lot of people do, but if you don't do that, then your credit score for the most part is going to recover over the course of the next 12 to 24 months. Now, it'll be 7 years before it
Right.
falls off your credit
7 years.
report altogether. Yes. But as far as the big hit you're going to take and the big depreciation hit you're going to take, you're going to
That's
absorb
the
all of
same
that
thing
within the
with
first year.
bankruptcy. If you file
And
for
then after that is
bankruptcy,
mostly going to
same thing.
recover.
That's a
Assuming you're doing
one-time
everything else with your credit you're
occurrence
supposed to
thing.
do.
It takes
If you
7
just sit
years,
back
but
and
you could just
the biggest
start
thing on your
getting
credit is your student loan
immediately.
debt, or the biggest thing on your credit is a medical debt, well, yeah, your score is going to stay low because that's all you've done. But if you keep working with your credit, get your credit cards, pay them off, and you keep doing that, that's going to balance it out because you're giving positive data to counter the negative data. And for the most part, student loan debts and medical debts, those are the two in particular, they're considered to be one-time events by the credit rating agencies. They consider those to be one-time incidents. One time.
That's a big issue. Because, folks know your credit score like you know your weight. You know that number. People can, I'm sure if you say, neighbor, what's your credit score? They probably know, right? And so what we are doing is again, addressing the realities of what holds people back and weighs them down. Right, when we talk about the need for people to have access to economic opportunity, we have to take into account What holds people back?
What good is having great credit if you got to go down to the racist ass community bank that is giving all the best favorable terms to the white folk and the Asians and the illegal aliens, and black folks show up and they say, oh, there's money for everybody, we got a loan for everybody except you.
Exactly.
What good is it? What good is excellent credit when that's the headwind you're running into? And I am not saying that they are insurmountable. What I'm saying is that this is not a change, man. This is more the damn same. She's putting window dressing on her situation, but ain't said nothing about what she's going to do to address it, because they're not going to. This is just about having a powwow session and say, hey, we can't see you niggas, and then tell you we ain't going to do nothing.
Because you put your zip code in there, you put African American
hard work,
in there.
work ethic, good ideas,
Don't ever do
ambition,
that. That's why they let these
aspiration.
other people consider
But there are
themselves to be
obstacles built into the
Caucasians
system
so they can
that have to be
slide the
addressed
home
to give
run.
people the opportunity. And it's not about a handout. It's about saying, give people the opportunity to compete. Give hardworking people the opportunity to get ahead and not just get by. That's what this is about.
Okay, but it's not about hardworking people, because white folk have an economic base that they can call upon. That's why they're not going under the way black folk do.
Right.
They've already got that. So if you sit up here and help everybody, what you're doing is also helping the dominant society to stay ahead of us.
Talk about it.
They already got 10 times the damn wealth. Helping them just helps them to stay ahead of us.
I can't
They're not
understand
staying
what the
up and
fuck they
competing.
want
You're helping them to
anyway.
stay ahead of us. All the effort and all the benefits and all the resources need to come over here to us who've been completely deprived of it, so that when we catch up, you can go ahead and turn the damn spigot off. We got it from here.
Exactly. What the
Then you can
fuck
turn the
more
spigot
do
off, 'cause
white
we got it
folks
from
want
here.
anyways? After they got everything they want. They got their
Thought I'd
whole
take an
fucking
opportunity, though.
family to
Thought I would
give
take
them
an
shit
opportunity, though.
that was stolen.
Go to one more thing here.
And what else do you need?
Kamala Harris did have something to say. I wanted to go into this video because there's another version of the video that's out there. I think it has a little bit more. There's a little bit more than what this other one had. Found that to be very interesting, by the way. Okay, I got my timestamps for that. I think that timestamp is wrong, though. That's going to be closer to 20, I want to say around the 26-minute mark. Want to hear what Steve Harvey's got to say here, and I'm going to put the video on the screen for you all.
The worst
Let's
person.
put the video on the screen for you
I
here for
would
a
have
moment.
rather
So you can go
have
ahead and check
him
it out.
than
Fair
Candace
use again here, by
Owens
the way, YouTube.
or Gail King.
Look, I can only be me. I apologize. I'm going to give myself a round of applause because I've never sat on the stage this long with a microphone and done this little bit of talking right here. But it's
You've already said too damn much.
Exactly.
actually
Of
been
the wrong
informative too.
thing.
I got to tell you, by normally I would have interrupted you by now because I would have been bored out of my mind.
I'm very impressed with your.
You like this?
I'm very.
I look like Gail King, don't I?
I knew. I told you he was looking flamboyant. Men done just lost their way.
I'm glad you asked me to do
And I
this.
did
because
say
we
Gail
talked.
King.
You saying, I look like Gail King. No, nigga, you look like Don King.
Right.
Listen,
Well, God, he knew who named the call. Because everybody knows she's just Candace Owens on a higher level.
I was telling the audience I came from a
I
ranch.
think we're about where we need to be as a society. Everybody knows that we're all being bullshit and fucked over. I think we all know that, right?
You hear that? Did you all hear that? By the way, we're 40 miles from my ranch. That's not funny to me. Let me tell y'all something. I spent the better part of the last 20 years now. I don't sit up here and do a bunch of flossing about me and what I got. I'm sitting up here trying to help other people.
And
We got
talking
credit card
about-
workshops, truck driving workshops, skilled trade workshops, IT
At the
workshops,
highest
one-on-one.
level.
I've helped literally hundreds of people get their credit
If he wasn't
straightened
live,
out
I'd
with
press
real world
pause,
stuff, not
even
some
though I
pie in the
could
sky
press
fantasy thing you saw on the
pause.
internet somewhere. getting their finances
Well,
straightened out.
we
I ain't
really,
sitting up here talking about what I got. Y'all don't give a damn what I got. It's like, hey,
talking
nigga,
to
what,
the president,
what am I
the
gonna
vice
get?
president of the
I don't want to
United
hear about
States
Steve Harvey's
of
ranch.
America.
Can you get one?
And she just as
Steve Harvey's
lame
ranch
as
does
hell.
what for you? Well, how does that help us? How does Steve Harvey's ranch help any of us? Just like Oprah Winfrey. Now, I bet the weather was fine at my ranch. These niggas are so damn out of touch, they don't even hear themselves.
Exactly.
They see another bougie ass nigga sitting up here living in a gated exclusive community and they forget exactly where the hell they are. This is what I'm talking about. They're completely distanced from us. So they're not distant, they're divorced from us. They don't even hear themselves.
Right, and you know the thing about
Sitting right there in front of you talking about they damn ranch. You trying to make ends meet and worried about the first of the month, and he talking about 40 miles from his ranch. And you trying to figure out how to pay for your studio apartment. Completely damn out of touch with us in reality. But you heard him say, she gonna help him out. I know that was a cringe-worthy moment for her. Oh, nigga, you saying too much. Because Steve Harvey thinks that if he sits up here and talks about what she doing for him, well, hey, you know, hey, she doing something for black folk, and she doing something for me. See, she doing something for black folk? No, she's not. She's doing something for you. She's doing something for you. She isn't doing anything for us. That's the problem there, y'all. Y'all need to know that's the problem. She doing something for black folk. We gonna be back up at the ranch here. She cooked me up with some folk gonna help me out.
This the same goofy ass black nigga that was going to Donald Trump when he was at the
by the way, yeah,
at Trump Tower.
You know where Steve is coming down on this ad. Yeah, that's where that comes from.
He ain't nothing but a
That's where that
ass kisser. He was at the White House with Donald Trump.
What I've played for you all so far is egregious enough. However, were you aware that Kamala Harris has recently given another speech? Well, look at this. The Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies. Why, she just talked to them a couple of weeks ago. My, like Johnny Gill. Well, I wonder how that conversation went. I wonder what she talked to them about. She talked to them before she talked to us, and I just wonder what the conversation entailed.
I presented for the United States on COP28, the Global Climate Conference.
All right, she's talking about global climate change and all that good stuff there. That's wonderful. Let me go ahead and back up to the young man here who was hosting it. I want to go over some of the things that he said. Mr. Jimmy Yang, he's an actor and a comedian. Has anybody heard of Mr. Jimmy Yang? If you have, he was hosting it.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, hi Jimmy.
Hello, how are you? Good seeing you. I have no idea.
Folks, do you see a pattern forming?
Yeah. Nobody gives a fuck.
When she spoke to the Asians, she speaks to actor, comedian. And when she came and spoke to us, why, they got another comedian. Don't be surprised if Asian folks see that she's a Trojan horse for them, like she has been for us. She gets them to drop their guard, and it's like, oh, here comes the trick bag for you too. Oh, we got a trick bag for y'all too coming. By the way, don't worry, they got a trick bag for you coming at the last minute. And let me go ahead and pull this rug out from up under your ass.
Why you guys call me to do this? Lisa Ling must have been not available. Went down the list. Connie Chung not available. Now here I am. But it's an absolute honor to be here with you.
Honestly, they don't have
and
no
all these
respect
amazing
for the
leaders. I've been listening to a lot of
political
talks, First Mayor of
system.
Cincinnati and like everyone. It's a lot of firsts, a lot of groundbreaking trailblazers of our community. And of course, you are the first AANHBR
That
Vice
nigga
President
sound like
of
he
the
down
United
with
States.
the
So I
Rainbow
want to ask you,
Coalition.
what does it mean to you to be the first, and how has your heritage, informed your views and your roles as a leader?
So, as Alicia said, my mother gave my sister and me a lot of advice, and one of the things that she said to me that has had a lasting impact is she said, Kamala, you may be the first to do many things, make sure you're not the last. My mother was 19 years old when she arrived in the United States by herself. She was the eldest of my grandparents' 4 kids. And she said, and she was part of one of the first waves of Indians to come in relative modern history to the United States in the 50s, right? So anybody of South Asian background, you'll know that this was early. There were not many Indian Americans or Indians who had come in at that point.
So you see what she's doing here? Now she's giving you the Asian backstory.
Yeah, this bitch is a
let me tell you
code
about Asian
tonight.
history. Do you see where
Motherfuckers
this is
all over
going?
the place.
By the way, fair use,
Like most
APAC,
multiracial
fair
people.
use to y'all
Nobody
too, by the
wants
way.
them.
But
They're
oh yeah, you know
outcasts
she's
and
giving you that
delusional. They just
history
all
lesson
over the
here.
fucking place, man.
Only from the real
All
side of the
over
family
the
that she
fucking
actually
place.
identifies with.
They're
So,
retarded like a motherfucker.
yeah, I found
man.
that to be
Nobody
interesting
don't
as
want
well.
nobody
Yeah,
like
really,
that.
really did. So
Where's
she
your
was talking to
base
him,
at
and he
in your mind?
comes out with some more questions
Sometimes they
here.
won't. And then you need to kick that fucking door down.
A far cry from the type of salty language that they use with us too, by the way. By the way, how ladylike. Very ladylike.
What the fuck did she say? I never heard
This
her
is
talk
part
like
of what's
that
involved,
before.
is that we have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open, sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that fucking door down.
Wow. I didn't know she had that in her.
There's no excusing you. No. There is no excusing you. By the way, though, I will say one thing. I wonder how happy and pleased Asians are to have her representing them that way. Bet you they wishing for some distance now. Watch, they all gonna say that's the nigga in them. By the way. But yeah, how ladylike.
Kung Fu shit.
How ladylike. Oh yeah, by the way, when was the last time she told us that, by the way? Oh, that would be too revolutionary and too radical if she said that to us.
Yeah,
so she wouldn't
it.
be in a room with us talking
us
like
to
that
do
because she
some
know we
shit.
about
We'll
that
do
life and we about that business. So she goes somewhere else
Yeah,
where
what?
it's really it ain't even really necessary.
We'll
Tell
do
me
like
the doors that are
Trump
locked for
said to them
Asians.
white folks,
Somebody show me the doors that have been locked to
stand
Asians.
by.
We've had the doors open for Asians since the end of World War II. Hell, since Captain Perry and the Black Ships, for those of you who know your Japanese history. We've had the doors open for Asians. When did the door, tell me what door has been closed to Asians? What's the door that's closed to Asians? The door that's closed to Arabs? The door that's closed to Latinos? The door that's closed to Jews? The doors that's closed to gay? Which door exactly is it that's closed to them that they need to kick in?
Never have it.
They're so prosperous, they're standing in front of doors blocking us.
We're gonna make t-shirts with that saying, kick the fucking door down.
There you go.
Look at the feet, fella. You could probably do it.
I literally just got emotional listening to that. Like, I think all of us in this room have that experience. Like me as an actor, whether you're in political office or any job you walk into, oftentimes we are the only Asian person there.
But it's not held against you. That's the
Everybody
difference.
ain't trying
You
to
got
start
your
shit with
honorary
you all
whiteness.
fucking day.
So what you're saying
Every
right
day.
now is irrelevant. I'm the
Every
only Asian
day.
in the room.
All
Yeah,
day.
but ain't nobody holding it against you. There is no legacy of slavery. You are not the metric by which white society determines whether or not it's prosperous or not. Ain't nobody holding you back. Nobody's saying when the Asian fella
Exactly.
shows up, whatever he wants, the answer is no.
Thank you. Talk about
That's the
it.
difference.
Woo!
You can be the only Asian person.
Right.
Ain't nobody got the knives out for you.
Thank you.
That's why you can have Chinatowns and Koreatowns. Ain't nobody trying to
Talk about
gentrify
it.
you. No one's targeted you. No one redlined you. They gave you refugee
Exactly.
status. They've given you protection. They've given you help. Nobody is targeting you. So
Exactly.
trying to sit up here and claim some fictitious oppressed status ain't gonna work for you, Jack.
And
Jimmy.
there is no
It ain't gonna work for you.
paranoia.
You make believing.
Thank you. You don't have no
You're
right
talking
to
about
say you're
our
paranoid.
experience. Kamala up there talking to y'all like you suffered our experience or that you're going through ours now. No, you're not. That's
Yeah.
our experience you're referring to there, Jimmy, not yours. You just want greater benefits and greater privileges, but you ain't suffering any
Exactly.
liabilities,
What the
though.
fuck
That's
do you
our
want? What
experience
more
you're
do
talking
you
about
want?
right now, bro.
Fucking door down. I literally just got emotional listening to that. Like, I think all of us in this room have that experience, you know, like
Y'all
me as an
motherfuckers
actor, you
just
know,
want
whether
what
you're in
the white
political
man
office or any
got.
job you walk into, oftentimes we are the only Asian person there, and how to navigate that. And for me, it's always, hey, I understand, you know, I'm fortunate to be here. Thank you for opening the door. But it's never like I try to not blame it or anything. Like if I miss an audition or whatever, I just gotta be a better actor. Forget about Asian, not Asian. I just gotta be better than everyone else.
Oh my God.
And that's why ain't nobody sweating you, Jimmy.
Right?
He just sat up there and tried to talk as if being Asian was some sort of liability, and then turns right around and says, well, you know, it doesn't matter whether I'm Asian or not.
Contradicting
And
yourself.
this is why ain't
And then
nobody worried about y'all.
telling the truth.
That right there. I'm so,
Right.
I wanted to let you all see. She's sitting right there. This is what they really want. See, this is the part that we ain't gonna do. That's why they're trying to flood the zone with as many of them as they can. We ain't gonna do this part right here. The descendants of the slaves are not gonna do this part. The part is, it don't matter if you're black. Steve Harvey will try for a few minutes, but the masses don't have that luxury. So you see him, he says there's some kind of issue, and he keeps talking, well, you know, I mean, you just got to keep powering through it. In other words, he accepts the status quo. No matter what happens, oh, well, it all comes down on me. That's not the way racism works. You can't say it all comes down on me, and then I tell you, by the way, there's some white supremacists over there who engineered the system. You can't say that. That's a contradiction.
Right.
Either there's a white supremacist system or there isn't. Either it has power or
They
it doesn't.
can't live without
If
it.
it's a white supremacist system and it does have power, then everything is not on you.
They need to suppress
Yes, you
us
should do
in order to
everything
be
that you
able
can.
to live on the
But it's a
fucking
fallacy to
levels
say that everything's
they're
on
on.
you. And then turn around, well, if I was Asian or not Asian, if I was black or not black, if it's being held against you, then obviously it matters. That's the reason they ain't sweating you, Jimmy. As I just said, they ain't sweating you. Because they know that's the response they're gonna get. You trying to assimilate and we trying to elevate. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
You
never
just
like I
stick
try to
with
not
that
blame it or anything.
gentrification
Like if I
shit.
miss an audition or
Don't
whatever.
worry about upward
I just gotta
mobility.
be
We done gave
a
y'all
better
everything
actor.
you need.
Forget about Asian,
Just
not
stay
Asian. I
right
just gotta
where
be
you
better
at.
than
Just
everyone
level out.
else.
But don't
Like
ever
you
try
said,
to
so
pass
I
us
won't be
as
the
white
last.
folks.
That's right.
You know.
And
Or
it's
you
and
gonna
it
meet
is,
a head-on
you know, I
collision.
think it is very much
And they
part of
mean
Asian
that.
culture. I think many.
I just gotta be better than everybody else. But Jimmy, why? Why do you have to try harder than everybody else, Jimmy? And who the hell is everybody else?
Right. What the
And
fuck
furthermore,
more
if
do
y'all
you
are buying
want?
degrees and whatnot, you gotta try harder than everybody else to buy your degree?
Thank
Is that
you.
where black folk are going wrong? We need to go ahead and pay somebody
It's
some bribes
just
for
a
the degree
piece of
first.
fucking
Is that
paper,
what we're doing
bitch.
wrong?
it won't be the last.
That's right.
You know?
And it
That's
is,
just like going
you know, I
to eat
think
at
it
their
is
table
very
eating their food.
much
What the fuck
part
is
of
that
Asian
gonna
culture.
do
I
for
think
you?
many cultures, but that we are taught duty.
Yes.
And duty.
Did you hear that?
Hmm?
See, this is the real Kamala Harris.
Here we go.
This is the real one now. Yeah, y'all heard that. This is the real one. Not that fake, phony, high yellow mixed chick routine that she plays with the dumb nigresses at the HBCUs and the sororities.
Right.
No, this is the real one now.
Right.
She's sitting amongst the people that she wants to be identified with. So she doesn't talk about y'all anymore. Now it's we. When she's among black folk, it's y'all. When she's among her people, it's we. And look what she says, we. About duty. And here's the crazy thing about it. Half of you from India.
Thank you. Woo! Right there.
You can't
hit it on
identify
the
with
head.
folks from the Orient.
That
Yes, I said the
delusional
Orient.
motherfucker don't know where she's
But you
from,
can't
though.
identify with them. Y'all trying to lump together, please tell me the camaraderie between India and China. They're literally killing each other over there at the border.
Thank you.
We
Right
covered this
now.
before, talking about BRICS.
They done ran at each other in
The Chinese and
in
the
the
Indians
sea.
literally killing each other over there at that damn border. Their soldiers are really literally killing each other over there at that border.
to this day.
While they sitting up here talking like this up here. Tell me where the historical connection is between India and China, India and Asia, India and Japan, hell, India and Pakistan. Show me where the historical connection is between these places.
Exactly. They fuck with the Africans more than they
Show
fuck
me their
with
historical
y'all.
linking up and camaraderie. Where the hell is that at?
Come on,
Hinduism
man.
and Taoism and Buddhism? Where?
They fucking with the Jamaicans more than they fucking with y'all.
Show me all the Chinese Indian families you found.
Come on, man.
What the hell are they talking about here? What kind of Twilight Zone garbage is this?
Say nothing but a word. Stop playing us like we dummies, man. We ain't stupid.
Talking about we.
We. Exactly.
Which we? What part of his Chinese, whatever heritage he got, are you referring to, man? Well, Asia. Does that include Russia?
Right.
For those of you who forgot, by the way, if we're talking about the continent of Asia, are we also including the Russians? I think you left somebody out up there.
They fucking with North Korea.
Want to know who takes up the most real estate on the continent of Asia, by the way? So we're just going to leave the Russians out? Okay. Yeah, y'all need to go ahead and take a look at your geography. So we just cutting Russians out of the equation altogether, right? And now she's going to try to connect herself to the Orient.
But this is what
And he's sitting up here going
most
along with it.
people are living in denial on this fucking
Some
planet
folks get
when
put
you
in a
don't
trick bag.
accept
Other
your
people
own
sit up here
race.
and jumping that damn thing.
Be a better actor. Forget about Asian, not Asian. I just got
Duty.
Yeah.
Something, it's not about whether you have the luxury or the will. It's your responsibility. It's your duty. And you don't question it. It just is. And part of that is the duty that we feel when we are the first in particular, to understand what that means to people who are not us, meaning everyone else. You know, we learn a lot culturally about the fact that it's not about us. Right? Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something with this damn lie right there. It's not about us. When was the last time you saw Asians stick up for anybody but themselves?
Thank you.
They literally have words for it. Gaijin in Japan, which literally means outsider. In China, they got a word for it. Korea, they got a word for it. India, they have a word for it. They have several different words for it in India. Kafir, Barakaman, we can go down the list. But in India, they got several different words for you ain't like us. The door is closed. We taking care of us. Now she's sitting up here trying to fabricate some inclusion. What the hell is she? Who the hell is she talking about? Folk not like us, because it's damn sure not black people. So who is she talking about? My folks who live in New York, L.A., D.C., Seattle. Apparently, according to Kamala Harris, they looking out for everybody else. Now, I know black folk do that. Our neighborhoods and too damn much is open to everybody else. Show me when these other people done open the door for you. Because according to her, they do.
Better than everyone else, it won't be the last.
That's right.
You know?
And it is, I think it is very much part of Asian culture. I think many cultures, but that we are taught duty.
Yes.
And duty is something, it's not about whether you have the luxury or the will. It's your responsibility. It's your duty. And you don't question it. It just is. And part of that is the duty that we feel when we are the first in particular, to understand what that means to people who are not us, meaning everyone else. We learn a lot culturally about the fact that it's not about us. Right? Yeah. It's about family. It's about community. It's about country. It's about values.
It's not about us. It's about family, but that's us. That's you. It's about community. Excuse me. That's you. It's about nation. I don't think they interpret it that way either. But you see what you name: family and community. Wait a minute, but that's you. See, when they talk to us, they talk about how we rebuilt America and changed America and transformed America. These other folks here, by the way, that's them.
Someone once described it to me as if you think of it, the culture, and I'm oversimplifying, obviously, but as an onion.
No, you're not oversimplifying. You're fabricating.
Well, you're lying.
The individual is at the core of the onion. And then there is the family, and there is the community, and there is. And all of those things are bigger.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to separate those two, Kamala Harris and an onion.
Whew.
Ma'am, you could have chose a different one than that right there. Now when I see her, I'm going to think about the smell of an onion. This one, okay, baby, you could have found a better one than that one.
And that's part of how we are conditioned to think in many ways, which sometimes leads to probably a willingness to minimize the importance of the individual. We have to be careful about that. But duty is an important part of it, to your point.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier, just being raised by immigrants, I think gives us that perspective and the gratefulness to be here in a great democracy, because that can't be taken for granted, especially in a lot of other places in the world.
There it is. There it is. You want to know why it is we ain't got camaraderie and we can't make no inroads and whatnot? And they think that Kamala thinks there's less daylight between her and him than there is between her and Steve. Because, I'm kind of black, but you just black. Me and him, we're not just Asian, we're immigrants. So you see, we have a commonality that we ain't got with you Negroes.
I'm so fucking bored.
Yeah, you're the foundation, but we're the newcomers, so you see, we have that in common.
I'm so bored with hearing the same shit.
And that's the issue that we have, is there's a whole bunch of folks who value being immigrants over anything else.
Ain't no race baiting. This
and yet telling you and me what we're not supposed to claim.
Because we already know this. We're not kids.
The importance of the individual, we have to be careful about that. But
we're not
duty is an important part of it, to your point.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier, just being raised by immigrants, I think gives us that perspective and the gratefulness to be here in a great democracy, because that can't be taken for granted, especially in a lot of other places in the world.
That's right.
And which leads me to my second question. I actually prepped a card.
But here's the thing I want to add while you're pulling out whatever's coming out of your pocket.
Okay, I don't know. She almost caught herself right there while you pulling it out. But in any case, I just wanted to show you all that, by the way, yeah, there he goes. We're immigrants. We're immigrants.
Always choosing to have something.
You know, being raised by
separation.
immigrants.
That's what that's about. A division.
These people know what they say to each other when we're not around.
Trigger word.
They know what matters, and they know what their points of connection and commonality are when we're not around.
When we
And
come
this
around,
is the
they jump
conversation
on
that
code.
takes place with Kamala Harris and the community that she really bonds with. Remember, she was raised by her mom, not her dad. This is the community that she bonds with, even if she ain't Chinese, by the way. She's nowhere from the Orient, but she's
We
trying
don't know
hard
what
as
the
she
fuck
can to
this
work that
motherfucker
Asian
is.
thing.
Please stop.
Now, could you imagine us as black people in America trying to go somewhere and talk about North American alliance and talking to Canadians and Mexicans and talking about, well, you know, for those of us from North America,
Stop.
y'all don't have the same language, the same religion, the same background, the same values. You trying to fabricate something. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
Stop. This
So I
is
just
all
want to take a moment here for you all and to show you that, by the way, that's what happened. Now, I will say one thing. I will say one thing here, that Kamala, they don't really ask any economic questions here. And I found it a little bit strange
Why?
at first.
Doesn't, I mean,
At
don't they,
first, I
because she
found
already
it a
gave
little
the money
bit
to
odd
him.
that she goes in front of this Asian group right here and they're talking about things, but they're not talking about
When
economics.
they had the
And then it hit me.
the hate shit going on.
The same thing that he said there before about when he goes in a place and whatnot, and I'm the only Asian there. It
And
doesn't
they
mean
give
the
money
same thing
to
for
them
him that it
for
means
the
for
going
us.
to
They don't have to
HBCU.
talk about economics anymore. Damn it, they good.
Hell yeah, they good.
They alright. They straight.
The motherfucking 1980s
They ain't got
they
an
already
economic
had
issue.
companies, man.
We trying to get there.
Thank you.
But they don't even have to talk to these presidential candidates about economics anymore. They're not struggling. So they've reached a point where it's just like talking to AIPAC. AIPAC is not there really talking about economic issues. They're talking about political issues and geographic, and to make sure the Jews don't hold on what they got. But this fella here, he knows Kamala ain't doing nothing to undermine them. They're already good.
And
Hell,
they
they're so
also
good
be
they
on
don't even have anything to
Cobra
ask
Black
for.
Man.
Just can you
You
bring
don't
more
want no
immigrants
crime while
over?
y'all don't all
But
come
they're not
together
trying
and
to
say,
get anything. He
you
didn't
know
talk about
what?
anything that's being denied
Black
him.
people do need
So that was when I was
come
like,
up.
okay, I'm waiting for him to get to the economics, and he never said anything. And then I was like, you don't have to. No wonder. You all aren't asking about anything anymore. You don't have to. Yeah, white folk done made sure you made it over so that you're their buffer class in between us and them.
Thank you.
And they make sure that you're properly funded and held up and everything else. Just so long as you putting up the stiff arm on us.
And the immigrants of the
And
lower
as
class.
far as you're concerned, everything's all right. You're not
us as
here
black
to make
people will
any
be
trouble.
eliminated.
He didn't say one word. They got no issues about trouble, no issues about revolution, no issues about overturning the status quo. We all the way all right. So he's like, yeah, he can just ask a bunch of general slice of life questions and sit there and talk about, hey, we all Asian together. Yeah, y'all ain't losing nothing. Y'all ain't losing
Get
nothing.
back to they ain't got
So
nobody
yeah,
to
the
chase
conversation
them around.
over there with them folks is radically different than the one you have to have with us. And still not addressing it. Still not addressing what you're supposed to be talking about with us. Still not doing it. That's how seriously they take holding us back in this regard here. They're all on code. And then they sit up here and bring in the comedians to tell us everything is all right. Or in Steve Harvey's case, don't be asking for nothing there. You don't need nothing. Yeah, we need to make sure Steve is taken care of. Yeah, because Steve has done a great job of taking care of the rest of us now, hasn't he? Yeah, taking care of Steve Harvey and some of the privileged Negroes, that's gone great for the rest of us, hasn't it?
That nigga was there probably telling jokes.
Literally got
before
Cat
she got
Williams and
there.
other people sitting up here telling you, by the way, Steve was
They might as well
helping
have
Steve don't
had
do nothing for
Roland
us. It takes
Martin there.
opportunities away from the
That
rest
would've
of us.
been
That's
better.
what Steve did for us. That's what Steve did for us.
I guess they did say Gail King.
Understand how these folks see things now. Understand how they see that.
She ain't gonna do shit for no black men.
I want you all to hear this tonight so you can hear it directly from these people.
Right.
And they finally, at the last minute here, and I said this 4 years ago. Folks asked me, Jason, how is this going to shake down? How is this going to come out? Folks, I've been telling you for 4 years.
That debate
They're going to tell
in
us
a
that
few
student
weeks.
loans.
What is it? Yeah.
They're going to tell us that what they did for black people is student loans. Did I not tell you that? Have I not been beating that drum for years now? I told y'all then, mark my words, when we go into the election, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to tell you that what they did specifically for black people is student loans. That's what they're going to tell you.
But some weed.
And they've been beating that drum ever since the, oh, hey, niggas, we got student loans. We move heaven and earth for student loans. And what they really want to see is how dumb and shallow people are.
Yep, there it is.
And Steve Harvey, knowing that they're not offering us anything, finally had to jump up and just say, hey, y'all need to quit asking for anything. Now, the real question becomes whether or not we let the bought and paid for niggas sit up here and do the damn talking for us. That's the question we got to ask. Whether or not we gonna let the porch niggas and the house niggas sit up here and speak for us. But what you don't have to wonder anymore is whether or not Kamala Harris and the rest of them folk up there in Washington heard us. They've heard
Trump
us.
already
They got the
wins
message loud
by
and
a
clear.
landslide.
You heard Steve Harvey running interference.
They just
She felt that when we
showed some
said
of the
you haven't
numbers,
done
and
anything specifically
Trump
for
winning
us.
by a
They felt it when we
landslide.
said reparations.
So I don't know
They've
what the
heard
fuck they call
everything. And they
themselves
also
doing.
heard us say we gonna stay home.
Yeah, you ain't
They
getting the black
heard that
vote.
too.
They already
I
said
want to tell
that.
you something here, and I might get into this next time.
Trump got the black
There's a
vote.
reason why I'm not going into Roland Martin. There's a reason why I'm not going into that. You all need to understand that Roland Martin actually thinks that we are useful. What? I want y'all to understand that. Roland Martin actually believes that we, here in the new black media, he believes that we are useful. Well, Jason, what do you mean by that? If Joe Biden and Kamala Harris lose, Roland Martin is going to be on their phones the very next day telling them, no. Now, if you had gave me money, I could have stopped them over there in the new black media. Understand that. If they lose, Roland Martin is going to be the first one on the phone. He's going to be the first one calling them up.
Well, you might as well start.
I tried to tell y'all, them asses. I told y'all while y'all was sitting up here not answering the phone for me. While y'all was ignoring my phone calls, I could have been doing something about them. Y'all need to give me more money. See, that's why you lost the election. You need to give me money. If y'all would have spent some more of that money over here with me, I could have done something here. I'm just telling you all right now, that's what he's going to say.
Keep saying
If they
same
lose,
shit over and over.
he's going to be on TV the very next day telling them that the problem is that they didn't spend enough money with him and that they grossly underestimated how strong the influence of the new black media is. That's what he's going to tell them. Mark my words, people. I know the playbook. I know the psychology. I know the flunkies. I know the plan. He's going to tell them If you had given me more money and I could have had more influence and we could have done something about these new black media people, y'all didn't spend enough with me. So now if you need to spend more and you need to do it early. That's what he's going to say. He's going to say that. So I want you all to understand, I didn't really get in the role in the night because putting in this proper context here, that's what he's going to say. He's going to say that. Now the next question comes, what do we say? I want to take this moment to have a reminder for you all right now. What you are seeing tonight and what you have heard tonight, I cannot understate this. I can't overstate it. This is the result and the culmination of going on 2 decades of consistency.
Wow.
We have been consistently beating this drum now going on 2 decades. We've had a lot of folk who were with us and they've fallen off, and we had a lot more folk join us because we have been consistent and relentless and uncompromising. And we have been saying it now going on decades that the issue is economics. We don't want to hear about integration. We don't want to hear about education. We don't want to hear about reformation. We want to hear about economics. That's it. That is the only agenda we want to address. And I'm just letting you all know now, this is the result of what we've done. But we can't stop here. You see how effective we've been. We're in the middle of an election year. We got a ways to go. And if Couch 24 wins the election, I'm telling you all right now, it is going to be a tsunami the very next day. Every single political broadcaster, political commentator everywhere is going to be looking at the black vote. They've already gone over the numbers. They're already setting up the argument already. They are all going to be looking at the black vote. They're all going to be discussing the black vote. They're going to be taking a look at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, all the places where Joe Biden is prone to lose. And they're going to be looking at that black vote. And they're going to be asking, why? Joy Big Mouth Reed is going to be sitting up there with a new shade of blonde hair. Talking about you dumb niggas. Roland Martin, you dumb asses. Hell, they might bring Tiffany Cross back. Who knows? But mark my words, that's what they'll be talking about. And we will say to them, we told you the issue was economics and doing something specifically tangible for us. Because that is the black agenda now. Economics. Dollars. That is the black agenda. To anyone asking and anyone who wants to know, this is the agenda now. We ain't hearing nothing else. Black economics, a hate crime bill, that's all we really talking about. Concrete tangibles, specifically for us. Nothing else is being discussed. We don't want to have the good time, feel good hour. Don't bother bringing us the entertainers. Let me tell y'all something else right now. I want to say this very, very clearly. There's an issue with entertainers, and as you all know, I know quite a few of them. Let me tell y'all something. They are the most unreliable people in the room. The simple fact of the matter is that most of these entertainers out here really don't have as much money as you all might think they do. But to the extent that they do, all they trying to do is get their next gig.
Right.
I need you all to feel this very, very much. These are gig employees. They don't work from one year to another year. They work from day to day. Steve Harvey can be hosting the Family Feud today, and they can have somebody else hosting it tomorrow.
Right.
There's a never-ending line of individuals they could get. They could replace him tomorrow. His contract could be canceled tomorrow. Hell, it could be canceled tonight. Take a look at Marvel movies, Marvel Studios. I mean, everybody there's a damn contract employee. You hear 1 minute, gone the next. They'll recast in a minute. We ain't trying to hear nothing.
Yep.
So I want you to understand these
Look at the movie
comedians
Blade,
and celebrities
trying
and
to be
entertainers.
remade.
These are gig
With
employees,
Wesley
man.
Snipes. Look how many
These are
people
contract
quit.
employees, and their number one duty in this world is trying to secure the next gig.
Exactly.
That's what they're focused on, is getting their next gig. So showing up in one of these places here and showing up with Kamala Harris, that's resume enhancement for them. They hope they'll be able to talk about that on the next radio show or something, but that's all it is. So I want you all to understand that's why we cannot rely on them or look to them for nothing. I'm just glad that Steve got up there and let the real thing out for just a few moments, that they are in full panic mode. I'm glad that they told him to address that however you need to, and he said what he thought was appropriate, and all he did was make the matters worse. She sat up there vomiting all over herself, and he made matters worse.
Man, y'all bored.
But he said the only thing he could say, hey, she up here messing up, but hey, y'all niggas need to show up and vote anyway, because you ain't gonna get nothing. They ain't gonna give y'all no money no way, so then there's no reason to vote, fool. Then there's no damn reason to vote. What the hell I need to show up for to get nothing? I can stay at home and get nothing. Why would I give you benefits and then I get nothing? I thought voting was supposed to be get benefits for me. I show up and get benefits for you, and I get to go home with an empty paper bag? This nigga's not even a good comedian anymore. So the issue is economics, but I don't want you to ever forget why it is that the issue is economics. I don't want you to forget why it is that that's what we're discussing. That's what we're fixating on. That's what the agenda is. This wasn't a conversation. Those of you who go back with me to the Barack Obama days, this was not a conversation that was happening then. This conversation was not happening when Obama was in office. We weren't talking like this back then. And now you're seeing it reverberating at the highest levels. And I want to give you all a reminder about how we got here and that we have been effective. People, if you've doubted whether or not tuning into us has worked, if you've doubted whether or not your support over the last decade and a half, if you questioned whether or not it's meant anything, listen to Steve Harvey there talking to Kamala Harris. He's saying our words. The message is getting through. People have rattled the cages. He is admitting that he's getting the work and he's feeling the heat, and that people are saying what we're saying, and that he's so worried about it that he feels the need to address it in front of her. That's letting you know it's real. We are having an effect. And in that vein, I would like to remind you of how we got here. This year, right now, as I speak, we are doing our crowdfunding for 8 a.m. It started with 7 a.m., but it moves on with 8 a.m.
I've heard
And for
enough.
all of you who've been a part of what
I
we've done
want to
here
thank y'all
before,
for coming
I
through.
present to you our results on your screen. You've been listening to it now for the last 2.5 hours. Those are...
You got more to say. You can go to this channel right now and listen to the rest. He'll probably have some callers call in. He's always encouraging me to, brightening my horizons in terms of, what it is that we African Americans need to concentrate on and stay focused. But I can think for my motherfucking self. I don't need no Jason Black or Tariq Nasheed or Vicky Diller or Dr. Boyce Watkins or Dr. Claude Anderson. I don't need none of them to speak for me. I know how to think for my motherfucking self, and I know what's going on. I'm not going to get into detail about it because I need to rest my mind. I'm tired of hearing this donkey-ass shit. They playing us like we a bunch of cheap-ass hoes, got us running around this nation chasing our tail. An embarrassment. An They are embarrassing, and we have been embarrassed, and this is an embarrassment for the legacy of African Americans or foundational black Americans here in America. These white folks don't give a fuck about you. I'm talking about the ones that are full of hatred. And the ones that are just living this life, they're living in denial, taking advantage of opportunities to look down on us, while they somewhat, as a white nationalist, holding their fucking heads up and getting what they want, material-wise. But all of them have no values, no morals. They think they do, but they really don't. They come from a legacy of savages. And the only thing they have to keep relevant is to teach to everybody to hate with racism the color of a black person's skin, when you know everybody loves us. They love our beauty. They love our black skin, and you know you fucking do. I ain't got time for this shit, man. I'm out.